You bring up a really good point, and this goes to the whole thing I've been talking about all week about how one of the failures of the Democrats, besides to just describe what we could all see fairly and aggressively, was the Democrats fought back and said how outrageous that Hur characterized the president the way he did. It wasn't his place to do it. And there's a great interview between Adam Schiff and a CNN anchor. His name is Jake Tapper, in which Adam Schiff, says, "Oh, Hirsch shouldn't have done it. Outrageous characterization, not his place, etc." And Tapper surprisingly doesn't push back at all on Adam Schiff. You can find that on YouTube if you wish. But of course now, as you just I think sort of suggested, Hur was extremely gentle. Her was extremely gentle. Her probably could have gone to the cabinet and said somebody needs to invoke the 25th Amendment.
Yeah.
Listen to this audio. And instead, he said the truth. And I bet you, I don't know if he'll speak out or not, but I bet you, just understanding humans, I bet you he really struggled with how to characterize it, but felt the Democrats characterized her characterization that you read as gratuitous and mean-spirited and political. And I think, in fact, he did the guy a huge favor. And I think, of course, if let's say it wasn't the president of the United States, but that guy was accused of some crime, was being investigated for some crime, and the prosecutor, brought him into the grand jury and interviewed him before the grand jury, that's what the prosecutor would say. He'd say to his boss or her boss, "Well, we can't indict this old man because in trial, imagine what it'd be like in the trial if he couldn't testify on his own behalf if he wanted to." Right?
Yeah.
I think we need to. The point here is, Hur was saying effectively that Biden was guilty of mishandling classified information.
Yeah.
But that he could not successfully prosecute a case, not because he was the president, but because the jury would say, "I'll give him a break."
Yeah.
Out of it. And we don't pursue prosecutions. Prosecutorial discretion says you only bring a case you think you can win.
Yeah.
That is a requirement in a weird way that is part of the Justice Department's own.
Yeah, totally agree. So
okay.
I'm building on what you all have said, and here's how I think about it now. What Hur said was like a clarion call to say, if the guy can't be prosecuted, there's a big problem here. Like, he shouldn't be president. It's like harder to be president than it is to be an accused criminal. But we can't make him an accused criminal because he's not up to defending himself. Right? Yeah. That's basically now what he was saying, and that audio tape is just so vivid. Mr.